every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
With the auto insurance market constantly changing, call a professional that will put your needs first. Ray Felton State Farm is a team of licensed professionals that will assess your risk, explain coverage in detail, and assure you understand what would happen if you ever found yourself in a claim situation. You can visit rayfelton.com or call their office at 234-284-2996 for a free quote on your home, auto, renters, and life insurance needs.
Whether you're hosting a corporate event, wedding, conference, concert, or any other special gathering, our comprehensive range of services will exceed your expectations and elevate your event to new heights. RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
Hand-and-built leather goods. Leather goods built for life. Made by hand in the USA, all goods are made with veg-tanned leather. Some of the best quality around and made by a U.S. veteran. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design is a creative boutique specializing in original artwork, design, and apparel. With 4 locations in Lakewood, Avon, Willoughby, and Kent, you can visit their store and check out their collections including Cleveland sports teams, Ohio colleges, and much more. Use the code ONTAP10 for 10% off your order. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind.
Welcome, everybody, to Sports on Tap. This is the high school football show brought to you by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. You're watching us live on our YouTube channel. Get Sports on Tap. Make sure you subscribe, like, get the notifications whenever we're about to come on the air. Probably more importantly than anything else now, we're on Spotify. So make sure you follow us and like us on Spotify as well. We reached 1,000 subscribers or likes on YouTube. Now we're on Spotify, so just more hopefully easier access to be able to watch your favorite Sports on Tap shows and get the live streams as we start getting into those here in the wintertime. We're also on Facebook, Sports on Tap, at Twitter/X at SOT Podcast, on Threads at SOT_podcast, and of course our website is sportsontappodcast.com. And any sort of news, pronunciations, questions, comments, make sure you email them to sportsontappodcast@gmail.com. You get to hear from Ray Felton about Ray Felton State Farm Insurance, RRT Productions, GV Art and Design, and of course, hand-built leather-made goods. And before the show, make sure you stick around after the show to get some more information about our wonderful sponsors. My name is Ed Dick, alongside Rob Troutman, Professor Hype, Sean Duffy, Dr. Hoops, Noah Jacobson. Our EVP of social media content, Josh Jeffy, is out on assignment. It's hard to believe we are into the state Final Four for football. We've been going at this for about probably almost 20 weeks now at this point in a row, and we finally reached a crescendo here. Unfortunately for us, a lot of our teams have been eliminated. We did have 3 teams in action this past week. 2 teams did face each other, which at least they guaranteed one moving on. But unfortunately, one had to go home. And then, of course, we had another team take on a parochial powerhouse, which we'll get to here shortly. So you're going to hear about Division I, Region 1. We'll briefly touch on Division 2, Region 5. We will have the recap for the Division 2, Region 6 championship. We will talk briefly about Division 3, Region 9, Division 3, Region 10. We may bounce around to some other regions that are more local to home, just because we'll have some time today. We do not have any student athletes this week. A lot of them are wrapping up school, getting ready for the Thanksgiving break, which actually isn't too bad. It's gonna be good for us to kind of get in and get out and recharge ourselves as we brace for the stretch run. So with that, let's get over to Division 1, Region 1, the Division 1, Region 1 championship. Was played, I believe this was at Byers Field in Parma, Ohio, and it was between the number 1 seed Lakewood St. Edward Eagles, the reigning, defending 2-time state champion, against the number 6 seed, the Medina Bees, and Noah Jacobson is going to start us off tonight with this one.
All right, well, thank you, Ed, and yeah, this was the 4th meeting in 5 years between both of these teams that are familiar by now. Between the number 1 seed St. Edward Eagles, the 2-time defending champions from Division 1. They're taking on the number 6 seed out of the Greater Cleveland Conference, the Medina Bees. And guys, a game was played in this one as St. Ed's would go on to win 42-7 over Medina. For Medina, their senior quarterback, Danny Stoddard, he finished his last game as starting quarterback he was 15-31 for 174 yards and a touchdown pass. He also did have 9 carries for 46 yards. Medina wide receiver Austin Knowles had 8 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown, but in the end, St. Ed's has just been what they've been doing for possibly the last three years, as they would go on to win 42-7 over Medina. But congratulations to the Medina Bees again. Like Coach Larry Laird said, and again, I kind of listened to what he was talking about. This is a program. Like, he's built that program to where you don't know what to expect after this year, but I'll just kind of run down the stats, what happened over the last 2 years and this year. 3 straight years with 10-plus wins. 3 of the last 4 years into the regional final. Again, that's what good teams and good programs do when you have, like, trying to get, like, from the youth. That's what you want as a program in Medina. That's what they've been able to do for the past 4 or 5 years. But not a whole lot to expect, but for the offense next year, as quarterback Danny Stoddard and Austin Knowles, both of them have great careers for over the past last year and this year for Medina. But give Medina's defense a lot of credit. They will be having about 8 starters coming back for them next year. Again, we won't be mentioning a whole lot of them, but Cooper Josephik, Talon Hovey, and Cam Sokolowski, and just many more will be coming back for them Medina defense next year. And you don't know what to expect for them. But again, congratulations to the Medina Bees making it to the regional finals again, but came up short against a very good team at St. Ed's.
Yeah, St. Ed's.
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely right, Noah. I mean, look, they ran into what is known as the Division One, Region One buzzsaw, and that is St. Ed's. Congratulations to Medina. Danny Snyder's had a fantastic career, considering who he replaced, and there wasn't a lot of expectation on him. There wasn't a lot. He was a big unknown, I think, coming into his first year starting, taking over for Drew Aller, Mr. Football, now the starting quarterback at Penn State. And I've been very impressed with him overall as a quarterback and as a leader on that team. I like the fact they're bringing back some defense, but again, Medina is going to be a fun team to follow next year because there's that turnover that we talk about, that churning, and that's where we talk about with these there's a difference between a great team and a great program. Hopefully, there's something in the cupboard there for Coach Larry Laird to pull on from an offensive standpoint. But you got to love the base, the foundation that's there from the 8 guys, like you said, 8 starters coming back on defense. Probably a lot of guys got some playing time on both sides of the ball. So definitely not the cupboard is not bare for Medina, but in those key positions next year, I think there's going to be some question marks, and we're really going to see, can they continue that tradition of having really great quarterbacks and really, really good skill players on the outside and at running back.
We'll have to see, because we haven't seen elite quarterback play, a consistent elite quarterback play from Medina up until Drew Aller popped onto the scene as a junior and really took the state by storm. And Danny Stoddard picked up right where he left off. And I'm not sure too many people knew who Danny Stoddard was, to your point, Sean, before he was the starter. So there's some teams in this conference, like Mentor, for example, that just churn out quarterbacks that usually start young, either as sophomores or juniors or even freshmen, and they work their way up and just continue to get that experience. We don't normally see that with a team like Medina or Brunswick or Strongsville, for that matter. The teams that we're used to seeing. Solon would probably fall into that category as well, even though they're leaving. So it'll be very interesting to see. I'm with you, Sean. I'm very interested in how their offseason's going to go on the offensive end. Austin Knowles, I believe, graduates as well. I think is Jack Wojcik. I think he might be graduating. Like, there's just a lot of offense is graduating next year. A lot of offense has been a major part of what Medina's been doing the last 2 or 3 years, even with Drew Aller there. So it's going to be a great offseason for Medina. I'm sure Coach Laird can't wait for the challenge, and I'm sure he's gonna have something for the rest of the conference to really pay attention to, because he's struck some gold the last 4 years with some tremendous quarterback and receiver play. Not to take anything away from the running backs or the defense or the linemen, but those are the guys that have gotten all the headlines and have produced the stats. So with that, Medina bows out at 10-4. St. Ed's moves on. All right, let's move over to Division II, Region 5. Archbishop Hoban took it to Walsh Jesuit for a second time this year. Game was a little bit closer. Instead of it being a 50-point deficit, it was a 30-point deficit. You just see the difference between the 1 and the 2 seed. It's 30 points, and make an argument it could be worse. If you're Hoban, they are the preeminent Division II team, and the team that got in their way last year is not in Division II anymore. From a at least from the state champion standpoint, but Archbishop Hoban defeats Walsh Jesuit. I believe this game was at Info Decision Stadium in Akron, I believe. This was This was Hoban doing Hoban things, as Sean likes to refer to from time to time. Hoban gets the victory, 30-0 over Walsh Jesuit. They win Division II, Region 5. Right.
And again, we see this every year, Ed. Hoban just kind of rounds into form. And again, they're like that snowball going downhill, right? They mow over teams. Sometimes it's close, but not a lot of times is it close. And we see it here. They just have talent all over that field, defensively, offensively, special teams. They're a program, right? They're a stalwart in this division, and the road to a state championship runs through them. Now, the question is, who's on that road? Who's the next stop on that road? And I think, if I remember correctly, we sent out our very own intrepid reporter, Josh Jeffy, to see who that next stop on the road is for, whether for Avon, for Highland, for Hoban, and we'll see here. So let's move on to that, shall we? I think we can all do that. I'm going to do my best impression of a Josh Jeffy here. So let me get this all figured out, and then.
Very nice. I saw. We all see. Yeah, we see. Yep, we see what he did there.
I was on mute. It wouldn't be a show, guys, if Josh Jeffy wasn't about to start his recap on mute. So I had to do that. Josh, we love you. Enjoy your assignment, but unfortunately, we covered the Buckeye recap for Rob.
Yep,
and
we always do.
When I started my recap, but I'll cruise through this here. As you can see, Highland and Avon met in the Division II Region 6 final. And it was the number 1 seed Avon Eagles versus the number 3 seed Highland Hornets. Avon comes into this game looking to make its sixth appearance in the state Final Four in the last 7 years. That is consistency, my friends, on the side of the Eagles. They entered the game, though, without their starting quarterback. We mentioned this last week as Blake Elder had to step in for Nolan Good, who broke his collarbone, I believe, in last week's game. And Blake Elder, or the week before, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure on that. But Blake Elder, son of Coach Mike Elder, got the nod and faced a tough challenge when it comes to defense from the Highland Hornets. The Hornets' defense came out to play, but so did Avon, as the Eagles' defense came out and limited the Hornets to just 63 total yards of offense in the first half. Avon was able to get 2 scores in the first half. The first was a Matt Maxey 19-yard touchdown reception from Coach's son, Blake Elder, and a 14-yard run from friend of show, constant guest, and I think Rob's favorite player that he talks about, Jacorian Caffey, had a beautiful 14-yard touchdown run to bring the Eagles out 14-0. Now, this was the halftime score, 14-0. The Hornets were able to make some adjustments in halftime and came out and more than doubled their offensive production in the second half. They were able to get on the scoreboard in the third quarter when they went on an 11-play, 59-yard drive that resulted in a 1-yard touchdown run by friend of show, Peyton Janikis, making the score 14-7. After the Highlands scored, the duo of Maxey and Jacorian Caffey helped the Eagles extend their lead to 21-7 with 10:07 left remaining in the game. On the next Hornet possession, Casey Miser cut a screen pass and took it 48 yards for a touchdown, making the score 21-14 with 7 minutes left. So 7 minutes left, we got a 7-point game. What more could you ask for, right? Highland's on their they're coming back. Unfortunately, Highland was not able to take advantage of forcing a 3-and-out, but Highland's defense was able to force a 3-and-out on the ensuing Eagles drive, but Michigan recruit Luke Hamilton crushes a punt. We gotta love kickers, Ed. Crushes a punt, pinning the Hornets down at their own 6-yard line. Highland took the drive out to their own 31-yard line and attempted a 4th down conversion, but was unsuccessful. And just like we've seen in other games here, Jacorian Caffey put the capper on for the Eagles as he would score his 3rd touchdown of the game 2 plays later, making it 28-14 with just under 2 minutes left in the game. In the end, Highland gave it their best, but Avon just made too many plays when they needed to win this game. Highland finishes the season 11-3. They reached the regional final for the 3rd time in school history. They did it in 2008 and in 2013. And with the 28-14 victory, Avon advances. And what do they get for winning? They get to meet Archbishop Hoban in their state Final Four, whom they've lost to 4 times over the last 7 years. So, it's good and bad. Some key stats here. Blake Elder finished the game for Avon, 9 of 13, 130 yards. All of those passes, by the way, were to Matt Maxey. He did have a touchdown pass in the game. Jacorian Caffrey, 25 rushing attempts, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns. Carson Canning had one interception that led to the second Avon touchdown. On the flip side for Highland in a losing effort, Peyton Janikis, 9 of 20, 127 yards, 1 passing touchdown. He also had 21 rushes and 41 yards for a touchdown. And Casey Miser, 108 total yards and 1 receiving TDs. From the Medina Gazette, these two teams were very evenly matched. Highland actually ran 20 more plays than Avon had double, but Avon had double the amount of penalties than Highland had. So not probably the cleanest game for Avon, but they were able to make plays when they needed to. And you see it here in the wonderful highlights that Josh was able to get when he was out there. But yeah, all around just Avon. Again, we talk about Hoban doing Hoban things. We see Avon in this situation pretty much every year. They don't maybe not play their best game, but they have the talent and they are in the coaching and they're so used to this area, this time of year. This is not new to them. Same thing with Highland, but Avon's been doing this for a lot longer. Like you said, 6 of the last 7 years, they've gone to the state Final Four, so they know there's something in the water at Avon. But Avon will go on to meet Archbishop Hoban in the state Final Four. Rob, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this game overall, because I know you cover the Southwestern Conference for Sports on Tap, and you are a big fan of the Avon Eagles. That's what I hear.
Yeah, and great job, Sean. Nice job filling in for
listen,
Josh
guys,
You kind of sounded like him a little bit there.
I try to. And I try to do my best, but really I got to give a shout out. Josh Jeffy did all the legwork on this. I'm just the pretty face reading this, so great job by Josh on the video and the write-up here. He was there. He was texting us all that night about the game. We were all I was a little bit shocked it was as close as it was. I kind of thought maybe Avon would kick it into high gear once they went up 2 touchdowns at halftime. I kind of thought maybe that. But credit to Highland. They made the adjustments, and they came back, and they brought it closer in the second half. But
yeah, and
Avon.
Yeah, and if everybody wants to go watch the highlights of this game, go to our YouTube page and subscribe at SOT Podcast, and you'll get to see, what a catch by Matt Maxey. Blake Elder, man, he was throwing, they kept him under control, but a lot of the throws I see in this highlight video were pretty solid strikes. The touchdown pass was dead on. But I think it helps, like I said, to have Jacorian Caffey, who's running hard on the ground, to take a little bit of the pressure off. But you see a lot of the, he threw deep in this game, but you see a lot of the short passes and intermediate passes to show kind of his accuracy. And I think Blake did a great job here against Highland. The defense of Avon holding its own, a Highland team to 14 points. That's very impressive, but they're going to have a really tough game coming up against Hoban, and they're going to have to be almost perfect if you want to compete against a team like Hoban. No turnovers. You got to be clicking on offense, and really, if I'm them on offense, I'm going to try to, run against that defense as much as you can and take down that clock, get some solid drives, and keep the ball away from the Hoban offense, because whenever the Hoban offense gets the ball, it seems like they score a pretty good amount there. But, keep it to, your kind of a game and your pace, because, obviously when things get away and you're up, 20-0, it's tough to come back against Hoban. I think that's what Walsh had a problem doing. Once you get down against Hoban, it's tough to come back, and they're just fundamentally sound. They have talent all over the board, kind of like Avon, and I think Avon can do it. You got to make the tackles, you got to wrap up, and you can't let the big plays get away from you. And we'll see how that goes. But Avon, we know they have a good offense. Not having Nolan Good does hurt, but Blake Elder has done a really good job up to this point, and I'm going to guess that Coach Elder is going to have him ready for this game.
Ed, Robin and Ed joining in this as well. We talked to Jacorian Caffey, and we even talked to, I think, Nolan Good earlier this year, and they mentioned how much they're not really running or utilizing Jacorian Caffey as your 45 carries a game, which they could conceivably do. And I think this is where it benefits them. He has the ability to take that on that responsibility and and take those attempts. But he's been benefiting because again they've been really good all year, and now at this critical junction, he's now able. He still has the tread on the tires a little bit. He's not overworked. He's not in that situation where he's so he can now take that extra burden on and really become the bell cow for Avon here. And like you said, Rob, this could be a way that they could maybe take it to Hoban, where again, control the clock, really limit the amount of opportunities for Hoban. Hoban's going to get theirs, but if you can limit the amount of opportunities that Hoban's offense has and tax that defense, I think that's a solid way to maybe
at least stay in the
within
game,
striking distance. Yeah, keep it within striking distance in that fourth quarter, and then who knows? You know what I mean? Get lucky. Again, Blake Elder is the coach's son. He knows. He probably knows that playbook better than half the team that of the seniors that he's playing with because he's been dealing with it since he was in diapers. But again, it's benefit to them that they have a guy like a talent like Ja'Cory Caffey, and he's not to the point where he's had all these carries lopped on him throughout the season.
Yeah, it seems like he's been getting stronger, and you got to run behind Luke Hamilton. They talked about him punting the ball, which, I've seen him do, and it is crazy. A big guy like that just gets into the ball and can punt. But, you got to get behind. The offensive line of Avon's pretty strong, but running behind Luke Hamilton, you could tell the run game always goes in that direction, and Luke knows what to do. So let's see what happens here. Hopefully, I know right now, it's a big week for Avon and Hoban planning, and I'm sure both are going to have some good game plans to make this a fun game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. There's really nothing more needs to be said about this game. You guys covered it perfectly. So big props to Josh for going out to Strongsville to cover the game between Avon and Highland. A great year for Highland as well. Coach Gibbons and Payne Janikis. And Chase Crutchley, who joined us last week. You can't go. There's no shame in losing to a team like Avon. Obviously, we know Coach Gibbons. We know what the expectation is there. But we're one of the last 8 teams to play in the state. It's certainly not nothing to hold your head down at. And Highland is a great program as well. And I have no doubt that Coach Gibbons will have the Hornets back. Probably make another run in Division II, Region 6 next year. All right, that's all we got really for our recaps. We'll just quickly go through some of the other regions that we had that we at least had teams in. Division 3, Region 9. The Chardon Hilltoppers is the number 7 seed. They defeat the number 1 seed Youngstown Ursuline Fighting Irish by a score of 31-14. Chardon's again, they won the state championship in 2020 and 2021 before they were stopped by Canfield last year. And Canfield, unfortunately, didn't get to this point because they lost to Ursuline. But congratulations to the Hilltoppers. Local, not so much local to us, but kind of in the coverage area. Chardon moves on to Division 3 Final Four. And last and certainly not least, Tiffin Columbian. They defeated Buckeye last week. They did not have such good luck this week against a juggernaut that is Toledo Central Catholic. Sorry. The number 1 seed.
Chokes him up, guys. It chokes him up how Toledo Central Catholic plays. Guys, Ed's so emotional about Toledo Central Catholic. He's such a fan. He's a big fan. He's a fan of the Fighting Irish. We love it.
Toledo Central Catholic does what they do best, and that's win football games rather convincingly. Again, they are the reigning Division II state champion. They dropped down to Division III this year, and they have run absolute roughshod over Division III Region 10. They win Division III Region 10 over Tiffin Columbian, 41-6. All right, let's get into it. This Division I state semifinals. We only have one local team up here that's going to be taking place here. Springfield has made the state championship 3 years in a row. They have not been able to get it to get over the hump. They've lost to St. Ed's twice, and they lost to a Columbus team, I think, earlier than that. But Springfield will take on Archbishop Moeller. That game will be played at Piqua at Alexander Stadium. And then Hilliard Bradley is going to take on Lakewood St. Ed's. Again, the 2-time reigning defending Division I state championship. That game will be played at Mansfield's Arlen Field. in Mansfield, Ohio. That's a great stadium to play in. It's kind of a pit, but they've redone the turf. It's a really really good atmosphere. So I'll just briefly say I think it's St. Ed's until someone beats St. Ed's, and that just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at these. I mean, first off, Springfield and St. Ed's. I mean, this could be the third straight meeting if both these teams win. Third straight meeting a state championship. I'd like to see Archbishop Moeller. Archbishop Moeller's been a good team all year. Out of the Cincinnati area, again, when you're talking football in Southwest Ohio, I mean, Archbishop Moeller is right up there with your Cincinnati St. Xavier's, with your Wayne, with all those teams. I mean, they're the big schools, and that's where they play. I mean, they are to Southwest Ohio football to what St. Ed's and St. Ignatius are to Northeast Ohio in that respect. Hilliard Bradley making it out of the Columbus area is interesting to me. But again, I like the idea of a Springfield team going back and getting another shot at St. Ed's. It wasn't – I remember watching that state championship game last year, and I kept commenting to myself. I said, by the way, I talked to myself in the third person. I said, Sean, one thing that sticks out is that Springfield has really good team. I mean, obviously they have talent, but they have talent in the right places. And you got to wonder how many times you could game plan for the same team. Again, they're not there yet. They got to beat a Moeller team that I think is more game than a lot of people are giving them credit for. But if they hold serve and they can win this game in Piqua, which again, I don't like Piqua, so enjoy that conversation, enjoy that trip up to Piqua. But if Springfield holds serve and faces a St. Ed's, who I think St. Ed's is like you said, Ed, is the odds-on favorite right now to possibly repeat, because again, I don't see a lot of people matching up well. But Springfield's a team I see matching up pretty well against St. Ed's. So we'll see if it holds true, and we'll see if we'll get the what would be the rubber match. Actually, no, because St. Ed's won 2 years in a row. The opportunity here for Springfield to win this game, win their state championship.
Well, and Hilliard Bradley is 13-1 on the season. They're coming off of a 2 overtime win against Upper Arlington. Their only loss is Dublin Kaufman, so they've won 4 in a row now. But a close game against Upper Arlington, who is 2-4, and both St. Ed's and Hilliard Bradley are 13-1 going into this game. I think it's going to be. I mean, it could be a really good game, but like you said, St. Ed's. They haven't had too many close games other than Archbishop Hoban at 14-7. They did play Moeller tough too. That was a tough game, but otherwise they had a few close games early on in the season. Losing to Massillon, Washington, but St. Ed's, when they get on a roll at the end of the season like they have, they're tough to beat. So it's going to be a fun one to watch.
I think,
and like I said, it is St. Ed's region in Division I, and they're gonna have a tough matchup against Hilliard Bradley because you never know how it comes. But as I always say, St. Ed's has always been what they've been doing the past 2 years, or how many years they've been doing this for so long.
Feels like 30.
But
St. Ed's has been a good team for a long time. No, they've been. I mean, they're talked about every year as a potential state champion, and well, I mean, rightly so. I mean, when you have that talent there and you have a great program like St. Ed's has, love them or hate them, you got to respect them for the consistency that they pour out year in and year out. St. Ignatius took a step back a little bit this year, given a new regime is in there, but I don't see a situation where, again, as Ed said so eloquently, it's St. Ed's until you beat them. Someone's got to beat them otherwise St. Ed's is going to run roughshod over this division like they did last year and the year before and 3 years before that and 3 years before that and so on and so on and so on.
The last note I'll mention about this team, about this region, Springfield was the beneficiary of the expanded playoff system. They're the number 12 seed in Division I, Region 2.
Oh, wow.
They came into the playoffs with a record of 5-5. And they have avenged 2 of their losses already to Wayne and Centerville. They lost to both of those teams over the course of the regular
programs too.
And they got those games back in consecutive weeks, no less, both on the road. So they've been road warriors for the last 4 weeks, counting the neutral site games. And so obviously they have proven their mettle in the last few years. and certainly up to this point in the playoffs as well. All right, let's shift over to Division 2, and we have two fantastic matchups here. It will be the Division 2 Region 8 champion Cincinnati Anderson. They are going to take on the Massillon, Washington, the Tigers, the Division 2 Region 7 champions. They were victors over Green in the Division 2 Region 7 championship. That game will be played at historic Crew Stadium in Columbus, Ohio. And, of course, the game we just talked about, relatively, I think we covered all we really need to cover about this game, but Avon will take on Archbishop Hoban. That game will be played at Spires Field in Parma. I think just a note about, I think Sean may be able to talk a little bit about Anderson more because he's from closer to that area. We all know, those who grew up here, we know what Massillon is, the Massillon. They are still searching for their first state championship won on the field. They have won many a mythical state and national championship rounds, or national championships, through the polls up into the 70s. But they have yet to win a state tournament on the field. And Cincinnati Anderson certainly isn't going to let them. Certainly isn't going to let that go lightly. Massillon is a very, very good team. They are undefeated. They have defeated St. Ed's. They have defeated teams that not a whole lot of teams can defeat. So Massillon is a very, very good team. They are led by DeJuan Owens, who was at Copley. He's going from Copley to Massillon, and not only is he, he's making plays for the Tigers that we saw him make for the Indians not too long ago.
Yeah, and with you really, with Owens, you have to contain him. I mean, he's just an athlete. So as soon as he sees coverage break down, he takes off, and he is fast. He's athletic. You gotta have somebody shadow him. Otherwise, he's going to be gone. And we've seen him this year just break some huge runs, during the season and make big plays. And that's what he does best. And that's why Massillon is so dangerous and so good. And obviously, they got a tough game. Anderson only with one loss on the year. That came in Game 4, a 56-35 loss versus Milford. But they've kind of run through it a little bit now. Yeah. And we'll see how they do. But, really, the Final Four, I thought Massillon would be here. I thought Avon would, and Hoban. Once Nolan Good went down, I knew that was a little bit of a hit for Avon. But it's going to be a great Final Four. And like you said, Massillon, Washington, I mean, I don't know if anybody can beat them the way they're playing right now. I mean, the only team now to beat St. Edward, but it was a close game. So,
yeah. Well, I would say this to you, Rob and Ed. I would say, when you look at a team like Cincinnati Anderson, you're right. They lost in Week 4, but they've been, really similar to Hoban. They're that snowball effect, right? They continue to get better week in and week out, and that's a team that you don't want to run into. Now, with Massillon, Washington, and DeJuan Owens, again, I agree with everything you said there, Rob, about Owens and how fast he is. But don't just peg him as a runner. He is a very good quarterback. He has an arm. He is accurate, and he makes good decisions when he's in that pocket. The problem is that if that pocket breaks down for any reason and he gets on the edge, he's gone. He's hard to bring down. He was hard to bring down at Copley, and he's been hard to bring down all season at Massillon, Washington. So I'm very interested to see this matchup. Hoban and Avon are what they are. We've talked it to death. I think it's going to be something that's fun to watch, but I'm very interested to see this Anderson-Massillon Washington matchup and how that plays out.
Yeah, and DeJuan Owens, he's done a great job for Massillon Washington this year. I mean, coming into a program that he kind of knew what to expect. Like, every expectations every year for Massillon Washington are like always the same, like state championships. But coming in from where he was to Copley and to where he is right now, he's just had an amazing season, and I can't wait to watch this game against him compete against a very good Cincinnati Anderson team who has been really bouncing back after the Week 4 loss.
Yeah, and I think Massillon too. They've had some up and down seasons. They haven't been as dominant, for a while they were dominating. They had great records and some pretty impressive wins every season. And then it seemed like they went a little bit downhill, but they have really come back up and stormed back. So let's see what they do here. It's going to be a fun Final Four.
Interesting one here. All chalk, all number 1 seeds are in the Division II Final Four, and I think I can speak for all of us here. We are not afraid to be biased here. We are our full supporters behind Coach Elder and the Avon Eagles as they try to dethrone and get past a team that they've had some trouble with in Archbishop Hoban. So good luck to the Avon Eagles.
Let's go.
Yep.
We certainly hope to see the Eagles advance to the state championship game. All right, Division III, the Division III state championship is going to be contested between, again, the aforementioned Toledo Central Catholic Fighting Irish, the number 1 seed from Division II or the Division III Region 10. They're going to take on the Division III Region 9 champion Chardon Hilltoppers, the number 7 seed. That game will be played at Mercy Field in Elyria, and then it'll be Salina
Salina.
I had a feeling I was going to pronounce that.
Everybody pronounces Salina. It's Salina. I played
Great
them
effort.
in high school. Yeah, good effort. But yeah, I called him Salina the first time we played him, and
You got
we won that
corrected.
game, but still, I got corrected many times.
Salina will be taking on Columbus Bishop Waterston. That game will be played at Xenia, Douglas Adams Stadium. Again, all these games are taking place Friday night at 7 p.m. The state championship games will be played on alternate dates and times that we're used to seeing there. I don't know much about Salina or Bishop Waterston. I'll let Sean handle that one. What we can safely say is that Toledo Central Catholic is an absolute. I mentioned juggernaut. That's
Yep.
I don't think there's enough words I can say about how good they are. Chardon is tough. They're a very tough team. They're just 2 years removed from being defending, repeat Division III state champions. They lost a tough one to the eventual Division III state champions last year in Canfield. So Chardon's not going to back down. They're going to play this game. They're going to play a very good game. I just think Toledo Central Catholic is on a whole nother level. Again, as the reigning Division II state champions, where they defeated Archbishop Hoban. It's gonna be a tough game for Chardon. They need to be on their A game and force some turnovers, find a way to get the ball more, control the clock with their vaunted running game that we've known forever. Keep the ball out of their hands. That's really the best offense and defense you could do if you're Chardon. Ball control, force a couple turnovers, and see what happens. That game will be played in Elyria, and I'll defer to Sean on Salina and Bishop Waterston.
Yeah, this game here is brings back some bad memories for me because my high school career was ended by Columbus Bishop Waterston in the state Final Four in 2002 or 2001, I believe. 2001. So again, and playing a team that I'm familiar with from Salina, who I believe came out of Region 12, if I'm not mistaken, which is where my alma mater currently sits, unless it's flip-flopped, because I know Bishop Waterston, I think, is a Columbus team, so I think they're Division 3 Region 11, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so again, I look at this matchup as I don't know a lot about these teams as they stand right now, but again, to come out of a Division 3 Region 12 like Salina did is no small feat. Given who was in that division, who was in that region, they were able to come in. I believe they were the 1 seed, if I'm not mistaken, 1 or 2. But again, congratulations to a team like Salina, who I played in high school. They were always a division lower than us, so we would scrimmage them a lot, the Bulldogs from Salina. And then, again, I'm cheering for Salina to beat Bishop Waterston because anytime I can cheer against Columbus Bishop Waterston, that allows me to get a little bit of relief, again, to have that. But, I'm actually, to be very honest with you, Ed, I'm very interested to see this Chardon Toledo Central Catholic matchup because I think Chardon should have been probably a 1 or a 2 seed the way they've been playing. I know their record probably didn't allow it, but you look at some of their losses, and their losses ain't bad. And Toledo Central Catholic has been what they've been in Division 2 and now in Division 3. So I'm very interested to see how this game plays out. I think the Hilltoppers can maybe put up a pretty good fight against Toledo Central Catholic. Again, because last year that's a team that beat a really good defense in Highland, a very good team in Avon, and rolled to the Division 2 championship. I don't even think they were tested in the state Final Four or in the state championship game. It was pretty much decided very early on in those games for Toledo Central Catholic, and good on them. Great program coming out of Toledo, but I'm partial here. I'm going Hilltoppers. I'm a fan of the Hilltoppers in this one. Yeah, we don't cover them enough. They're in our area, but you gotta love Chardon, the 7 seed. Again, 7 in name only. This is a team that's consistently one of the tops in any division they play in, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, whether it's 4. Chardon's a program. Chardon's a beast, and Toledo Central Catholic's a beast. So we got 2 beasts fighting each other. And what happens when 2 beasts fight each other? I don't know, and I'm excited to see what does happen. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. There's going to be hitting. There's going to be some really good offensive play, but I think this is going to come down to defense. I think this is going to be a defensive rock fight, and I look for it to be a very low-scoring game, which I don't think either one of these teams have really had in the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see how, if it plays out that way, how each team reacts and how much of that angst builds up towards the later half of that game, and seeing if maybe a mistake is made as we're coming down to it.
You mentioned it too. One of the losses for Chardon is to Bishop Watterson, which I mentioned it earlier. I apologize. A loss to Kenston. Kenston's in their conference. Kenston every single year. Kenston's a very good program. They're not too far removed from their own state championship. And then they also lost to Tiffin Columbian at Tiffin Columbian, which is not a close drive from Chardon. And that was a 50-49 shootout in week 2. Chardon has been on quite the run. So you might be looking at the irresistible force against the immovable object here with that game in Elyria. So that wraps it up for our for the coverage that we normally have. A couple since we have a little bit of time, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention. I'll share from the OHSAA screen. We do have another Cleveland team in the running. It is the reigning defending Division 4 state champion, the Cleveland Glenville Tarblooders. For those of you or one person who says we never talk about them, you're going to get some run today. They were able to defeat Sandusky Perkins 36-26.
Wow.
Division 4 Region 13 state Division 4 Region 13 championship game. Sandusky Perkins was phenomenal this year. Phenomenal. And Glenville took some losses to some very, very good teams that they wouldn't normally play. But that's exactly why they play those games, is to prepare them for this exact moment to take on a team like Sandusky Perkins. So they get the victory. They repeat as Division 4 Region 13 champions. They will take on Canton South, a 35-13 winner over Struthers. Struthers is a Youngstown team, so very, very close to my in-laws. My dad's calling me. I gotta send him a note that I'm on the air right now. This game was Canton South in Glenville was originally slated for Euclid Stadium, which is a tremendous stadium. But I did happen to see something on the interwebs about Canton South wanting that game moved, and they got their wish. That game actually got moved to Wadsworth's Art Wright Stadium.
Nice.
Which is, I think, much more equitable of a situation there. That would be a glorified home game for Cleveland Glenville, and I'm glad the OHSAA made that right. Made that right for them. I don't think that was right at all for Glenville. it doesn't matter if they're the defending state champions. They're right down the road from Euclid, whereas Canton South, that's a haul. That's a little bit of a haul for them. So
Yeah.
no, there's nothing equitable about that. I would say if nothing else, Wadsworth and Canton probably aren't that far away themselves, but I think equidistant wise, it's a much better. It's a better compromise. So I do applaud the state for fixing that mistake. I think we all remember the crap I gave them when they decided that Parma Heights Holy Name and Parma Padua regional championship game in Maple Heights instead of Byers Field, because that made a lot of sense to send Maslin up there.
Anyways, it's a haul.
Enough OHSAA bashing for one day.
But hey, you gave them props. You gave them credit for, they made a mistake, they changed it, and you're giving them credit for it.
I'm just saying at this point, Ed, that you are on a list somewhere in the OHSAA, and I'm here for it though. Like I got your back. We'll fight them. I mean,
oh wow, now we're talking about fighting.
I have a bone to pick with the OHSAA regarding the fact that there's only one division in hockey, and it makes absolutely zero sense.
That's a whole nother sport for a whole nother day.
That's a whole nother podcast in general. I am interested, Ed, to see, is that where the Steubenville Archbishop Altar game is going to be?
Yeah,
in, Westerville.
Yeah.
Okay, because you talk about two, like, I know we talk about Glenville, Canton South, but two diametrically opposed geographic areas between Kettering Archbishop Altar and Steubenville. They're basically on the both like extremes of the state here. Just to touch on that, Kettering Archbishop Altar, I mean, they're a stalwart in the Dayton area. They're a very good program. I'm not too familiar with Steubenville, but again, it does not shock me that Altar is in this Final Four. Wouldn't shock me if they moved on to the state championship because they're there every year. Doesn't matter to the division. They kind of fluctuate between that 3, 4, sometimes 5, depending upon enrollment. But again, congratulations to a team that I'm very familiar with, Kettering Archbishop Altar. Again, a Dayton area stalwart representing for the DYT. I guess that's what you call it. I don't know. I only grew up there, but I don't know.
DYT is apparently a thing now. Steubenville is a historically a very historical program. I think more prominent in the 90s and probably early 2000s. I think they went through some not so good things more recently, but they seem to have gotten past that, and they are back in the state Final Four in their own right. Very quickly, Perry is a Northeast Ohio team, way more on the east side. They are the Division 5 Region 17 champions. They will take on Canal Winchester Harvest Prep. That game will be played at Shelby. And then Germantown Valley View will take on Liberty Center. That game will be played in Sydney. I know nothing about any of these teams.
I only know them by name.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at.
I remember Valley View and I remember Liberty Center, but I don't really have a lot on this game. Good on Perry again, making the playoffs, making the state Final Four, representing NEO. Can't see how I'm doing with the thing. But hey, it's going to be fun. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, congratulations to all the teams that have made it this far. I mean, it's definitely, it's not easy to do, especially going through regular season and with injuries and everything else. And all these teams have made it far.
In a longer season. It feels like a longer season. I mean, it really is. Like, we're talking, we're into almost December, and we're talking football. I mean, when we went to high school, guys, that never, with the exception maybe of Noah, that never really happened. By Thanksgiving, I remember Thanksgiving was state championship games. We're still a week extended out. But I remember going on Thanksgiving break and being in wrestling practice and going and watching the videos of the teams that beat us in football or whatever, Bishop Watterson and all those other teams on TV during Thanksgiving. And now here we are over Thanksgiving. It's just state Final Four, but still, it's amazing to think that we began all this, middle of August, and here we are, just almost December, still talking football.
Yep,
no doubt. Shifting over to Division 6, our friends, the Kirtland Hornets. They have the multiple state champions, Coach Tiger Liberty out there. They're going to take on Sugar Creek Garaway. This game will be played in Louisville, in Leopard Stadium there. And then it'll be Columbus Grove versus Versailles.
Sales.
Versailles. They actually do pronounce the Versailles part. I think we talked about Versailles a while back when they actually defeated Kirtland. I think it might have been last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, Versailles is certainly, that game will be played at Wapakoneta. Again, these games are being played Friday night at 7 o'clock. I did once say that someone had to beat Kirtland in order to to take over, and Versailles certainly did that. They did not mess around. They that down. So imagine Kirtland obviously isn't going to look past Garaway, and I'm sure Versailles isn't going to look past Grove, but I have to imagine that they are in the corner of their eye. They're seeing each other on the other side of the tracks, and it's going to be another irresistible or immovable object versus the irresistible force game, potentially in Division 2 region or Division 6. I actually took down the Division 7 teams because we don't have any teams really there, but just in the interest of equitable coverage here, Division 7. This game's going to be played in Lima. It'll be Hamler, Patrick Henry taking on Maria Stein Marion Local. They're very good. Regardless,
they're there every year.
They are fantastic. Division 6, Division 7, it does not matter. The winner of that game is going to take on Dalton and Caldwell. That game will be played at Zanesville. Dalton has been very highly ranked in Division 7 all year long. They did win Division 7 Region 25. That happens to be the region that my wife's alma mater is in Lowville. But I don't know too much about these teams. All I know is that Maria Stein Marion Local, they don't lose very often. So I would say it's theirs until someone beats them without knowing really anything else.
Death, taxes, and Marion Local in the state Final Four. That's what you can count on in Ohio.
There you
That's
go.
right. So that's really it. That's really all we have for our football coverage this week. Kind of in and out this week. We will look to get some coaches and/or players on for the penultimate football show as we talk about the state championship games. That'll happen at least in 1, 2, and 3 for the teams that we covered that were in those playoffs. Look, maybe get a couple coaches on and talk about their seasons. And maybe who they have what they have coming back, who they're rooting for in the championships and whatnot. But we're getting real close to the other part of our season, and that's the hockey season. The Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League is the organization that we cover. We're very excited to partner up with them for another year of hockey coverage. You're not going to get better hockey coverage of that specific league than with us. You want to know I know that? I happened to look at a very prominent website while we were on this show, and they nary mentioned that organization. I'm not going to denigrate the other school that they did talk about because they are very good schools. In fact, they're so good they should be in their own division. But again, OHSAA does what they do. Regardless, the Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, we will give you the best coverage you could possibly ask for. We will be going out to rinks. You're going to be seeing us live stream games. I'll be on the call along with Sean Duffy. We have our EVP of social media, and I think we promoted him to
graphic design. What do we call him?
He was an intern
apprentice
specialist.
He's an apprentice.
Okay, apprentice. He'll be an apprentice.
Yep.
Of course, we have our technical director, Rob Troutman, who's making sure everything runs right, sounds right, looks right. And then Noah Jacobson is usually on the ice, helping us out with the socials and getting just some of the shots that you're not going to see anywhere else. I guarantee it.
That's not all, Ed, and I'll tell you why. Because not only does Noah run a camera for us on the ice, the man is also prowling the sidelines as Dr. Hoops. Because just because hockey starts, we're not ignoring another great sport, and that is basketball in Northeast Ohio. And the only place you're going to get the best coverage is going to sportsontap.podcast.com. Go into our YouTube page, click in and subscribe, smash in the like button. giving us all the feels. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. I mean, wherever you find podcasts, that's where we're going to be.
Bada bing, bada boom.
We're there. And I'll be honest with you, we're dwindling down on football. And I know it's tough. But as Ed mentioned, there blossoms Hockey Night in Northeast Ohio. Brought to you by us, Sports on Tap, covering the biggest, and best hockey league in the state of Ohio. No league beats it. There's more hockey per capita in that league than anywhere in the state. I'll put my money on that. You know how I know? Because we get so much cred for covering not only the league games, but the Barron Cups. Ooh, buddy, Barron Cups. The only thing going on Super Bowl Sunday is the Barron Cup Championship Sunday. I'll tell you that right now, and I'll put my money on that. But you're not going to be able to find it just by Googling. No, you got to follow us. Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Oh, we're not on TikTok, are we? We need to be on TikTok, but that's no. We have our website. If you have any problems, if you want to yell at me, direct all your fan mail, all your hate to Rob Troutman, care of sportsontap@gmail.com, because guess what? I don't care. And Rob is the one, and Rob is the executive vice president. He's the captain of this particular ship. So I direct all your problems to Rob, and he'll tell me, and I'll say, hey, Rob, I'm done. I don't care. But on the truth, we will be starting up hockey. There will be a serious move to hockey here, and it's going to shift, and it starts up quickly.
But I'd still like to say good luck to the Avon Eagles. You can pull it off. Come on. I'm rooting for you. Well, we're rooting for you. Good luck to Coach Elzer and all the Avon Eagles players and fans and everything else. Good luck this Friday, and we'll be rooting for you.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
There you go.
Couldn't say it better myself. With that, for Rob Troutman, Sean Duffy, Noah Jacobson, and Josh Jeffy, this is the Sports on Tap High School Football Show presented by Ray Felton State Farm Insurance. Make sure you stick around, hear a word from all of our great sponsors, and again, go Avon, and we will see you all on the other side.
Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is on every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Watch live on YouTube and make sure to subscribe. Sports on Tap's high school football coverage is presented by Raymond Felton State Farm.
Have you compared insurance rates lately? Are you satisfied with your current insurance provider? If not, look no further than Ray Felton State Farm, a proud sponsor of Sports on Tap. For a free quote, call his office at 234-284-2996 or visit him online at rayfelton.com.
RRT Productions. We shoot, we edit, you win. Visit our website at www.rrt-productions.com.
For handmade quality leather products, check out Hand and Built Leather Goods. Check out their website, www.handbuiltleather.com. GV Art and Design, original and one of a kind. Check them out on their website at www.gvartwork.com and use the code ONTAP10 to get 10% off your full order. GV Art and Design.